You are inside the studio with Powertex. Welcome to the Mixed Media Podcast for artists, crafters, and adventurous creators. This podcast is for you if your creativity cannot be defined by any label, and where the only limit here is your imagination. I'm Michelle Brewer, Creative Director at Powertex UK. Now let's talk all things Powertex, mixed media, and creativity. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Powertex Pathway Podcast. So, in this series, I have interviewed several people who took part in my Pathway program. And in this episode, I'm going to explain exactly what the Powertex Pathway is. So 3 years ago now, I had an idea for an online course or a program that could really share Powertex and bring people together and take people through all of the stages and products involved in Powertex and come out with a project or a better and deeper understanding of Powertex and the various products, how to use them, but also building confidence and skill set whilst enjoying the medium. So for years, I've been teaching people techniques and projects, but I realized something. People were creating really beautiful work and interesting, exciting work, which I absolutely loved. But often my ideas and projects, and I really wanted to help people reach the point where they no longer needed my designs because they had the confidence to create their own. So that's really where the idea of the pathway began. But also, I wanted there to be a point to the course. I myself joined lots of courses and art programs and creative things that I love to do, creative classes. But sometimes or oftentimes it's for the joy of creating. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. But I really wanted there to be an end goal, something we were aiming for, something a bit scary, if I'm honest, that we were stretching because exhibiting work at the NEC does feel scary. That is a big stretch. I think for everyone, I would be surprised if anyone didn't feel a little bit stretched or intimidated or nervous about creating work to go on display. So I wanted there to be an end goal, something that we were reaching for and stretching for. And also as a student, and I would call myself a lifelong student, somebody who enjoys learning. We're a continual work in progress, aren't we, with ourselves, not just in creativity, but in all areas of life. We're always working on ourselves in different ways. And it's what makes the world go round. So I wanted to introduce and create a program that would bring teaching, education, self-improvement, creative adventures together. And then with that end goal of the exhibition. So that is where the idea of the pathway came in. So I worked on this program it took me 2 years to put it together and also to be in a place where I could actually launch it, life got in the way. And the pathway, it's called the Powertex Pathway, and essentially it's a 6-month program. And for the first 3 months, we all worked together on the same project, but with as always with Powertex, with varying outcomes. So the project, we all started with a polystyrene head. And for the first 3 months of the course, everybody on the program, we followed instructional videos on how to use different products on our head. And then we created our own design of a head using those technical skills and product knowledge that we'd picked up along the way. And so we had 20 people on the program. I closed the program at 20 people for that first I'd call it like the beta run. I just wanted 20 people because that was a lovely, manageable amount of us on there, and we could all get together. And so we had 20 amazing heads at the end of those 3 months. And the course is delivered in a format where there are videos and an online learning portal to watch, but also live Zoom group meetups. So we had 2 of those a month, and that was a chance for us to get together, share our work, and speak to each other. And unwittingly, I didn't know at the time, that would become sort of the real crucial part of the course, because we became such good friends with each other over those months. Life carries on outside of the Pathway program, and we were there to support each other in ways we never imagined. So not just through our creativity, but we developed real deep friendships through Powertex and through the Pathway that we were able to bring into our creative projects, and we were able to share. So that was very beautiful. So we had these different heads. And then the second half of the 6-month course is for people to work on their own signature project. So you could either continue work on your head and develop that into your signature project, or started with something new. So everyone on the program was given a brief, a choice of 3 briefs. Actually, there were 3 briefs, and then you could create a project based on your chosen brief. And then using the knowledge that you'd learned over the first 3 months and the new skills that you picked up, you went on to then create your signature piece. Now, at the end of the program, it wasn't just about creating. You had the opportunity to then display your work at the NEC. And that's the National Exhibition Centre in the centre of the UK. So that's in Birmingham in the Midlands, at the Creative Craft Show. So it's the biggest craft show in the UK. It's at the National Exhibition Centre, so the largest exhibition centre. It's huge. And it was the show at the end of the year. So one of the largest shows in Europe. It's huge. It's not a small thing. So throughout the Pathway, we were all conscious that we're creating a piece that is then going to go into an exhibition on display and is going to be seen by lots of people. So there was a big incentive, something a bit scary, something to work towards. It was an opportunity as well to be able to create something, call ourselves artists, and have this go on display. So then we did. So people completed their work. And some people had huge personal challenges. You'll hear about those in the conversations that I have with people. And they overcame those to bring their work to the NEC. And that show was absolutely incredible. It was such a special time. The show was huge. It was overwhelmingly busy. Powertex has not been at that show for a long time as Powertex UK. So it was really exciting. The show organisers were very excited to have us there. So on our stand, we had a whole variety of work, and we had a mixture. Some people bought their head piece and their signature piece for display, and it really inspired people. So those attendees at the show were they were drawn to the stand. We also, one of the signature pieces, I talk about him as if he's real, is called Wolfie. So it's a life-size sculpture of a wolf created by the lovely Amanda on the Pathway program. He was her signature piece. And he was a real showstopper, so people were very excited to come and see him. Because he was large, so you could see him from a long way. And as they came onto the stand, you could really see people's excitement and awe as they were walking around, like, wow, how have you made this? I could never make this. So it was lovely to see, one, people's work being displayed. They'd worked so hard on them on the Pathway. But two, how inspired people were. Sometimes people that had never heard of Powertex or had never seen it before and were seeing it for the first time, and they had this huge variety of work, finished work to look at and be inspired by. And it was just such a privilege. I spent a lot of the show in tears, happy tears, because this program that I had spent so long dreaming about and wanting to create had finally happened. And I knew the effort and the work that people had put in to join this program and the commitment and the time that it had taken them to really come on and put their all into the work, and then to have that courage to take it to the largest craft show in the UK at the biggest exhibition centre. I mean, that takes real bravery, I think, because these people are not professional artists. This is something for nearly everybody, I think, on the pathway was their first time of ever displaying their work of any kind at any type of show. So it was a lot. And I'm so proud of all of them. So yes, I did spend quite a lot of the show just crying, happy tears, but also sharing the stories behind some of the sculptures, the inspiration. They're quite amazing. So I am delighted to be able to bring those stories to you throughout these series of podcasts. So for everybody that was able to, they were able to meet with me online, and I recorded the conversations with them about their sculpture, about the pathway, about their headpiece or their signature piece, whatever they wanted to talk about, and their inspiration behind it, maybe the reason that they made it, what they want to achieve with this, where they're going with it. So I very sincerely hope that you enjoy each of those stories just as much as I have. Before we finish, I'd like to leave you with this thought. The pathway has never been about creating sculptures. It's always been about creating confidence, about finding your own artistic voice, telling your own stories, and discovering that you're capable of far more than you ever imagined. I mean, that brings me joy. And I hope that as you as a creative, it would also bring you a lot of joy. So over the coming weeks, you're going to meet some of the incredible artists who joined me on that very first pathway journey. You'll hear their stories in their own words, discover the inspiration behind their exhibition pieces, and I hope be inspired by what they achieved. Now, remember, these are real people. These are not professional media trained. You know, they're normal people that I hope that you can really relate to and find a little bit of yourself and your own story in some of theirs. So next week in our first episode, you're going to meet Sandy. Originally from Africa, Sandy created a remarkable vulture sculpture for her signature piece. I love it so much. I'm lucky enough that it's currently in my own studio. And it's inspired by the landscapes of Africa. Everything that Sandy makes really comes from the heart. That wildlife, memories, the country, Africa, that she once called home. And at the heart is a powerful message about the plight of Africa's vultures. So Sandy often includes messages with artwork, highlighting the plight of various animals, which I find amazing. So the first opening podcast is with Sandy. It's a fascinating conversation. So I can't wait for you to hear it. But until then, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.